Okay, we are live. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be doing a demonstration of my needle shaping technique for my pocket pals. You get my table position here. Get the thumbnail out of the way. So I have been making pocket pals for quite a while. Pocket buddies, mini Izzies, whatever you'd like to call them. I call them pocket buddies mostly. And I made a previous live when I made this one. I haven't decided yet which I'm going to make today. So let me get this, choose my news layout. There we go. Yep, that's the layout I want. So in my previous video, I showed I hadn't put that in. That's since it's a keychain. There we go. It's a zipper pull keychain holder. It just screws into itself like that, so that it can be put on a backpack or a jacket or keychain. So on this one, I didn't. All this wasn't it pre-filming. I just put the pieces together. I had the ears, the pieces for the mane, the snout, and the tummy. They were all made, and I sewed them on, and I did all the shaping. I made the tail. So I'll be doing something similar this evening. And this is my pile to choose from. Set that aside. Roll my sleeves up and get busy here. I've got, I think that one is going to be a horse. And this one is a koala. Maybe I'll make that one. This one appears to be, there's a mane and the snout. So that's another lion. And this one, that's another koala. Oh, I've got a few koalas. This one here is an ood. See his speech orb and his tendrils there. And I've got an army man, a beret. Let's see what this is. I think that's another ood. And that's another lion. I think this one is a lamb. No, that would match my background too much. This one appears to be, maybe it's a bunny. Oh, I think it's Frank Rabbit from Donnie Darko. I'm not sure what else I've got in here. Oh, there we go. That one is a Highland cow, but I haven't. I should open up my comments. Hi, Andy. Glad you can join me. I'm just going to put one of my little animals together. Trying to decide which one. Maybe I'll do a koala. On something black that would definitely not show up very well on screen. I think that's Grim Reaper. Yeah, I'm going over the same ones again here. I'm not going to do a Highland cow because the yarn I chose is very slippery. Oh, there's a Thulu. Should I do a Thulu or a koala?
The Thulu.
The Thulu? Okay, I'll do a
Thulu's more
Thulu.
interesting.
Sarah says Thulu, so I'm going to do a Thulu. Set this aside. Hang on.
The Thulu's more interesting.
Get my cup of tea. I was asked if I have patterns for these. I haven't made patterns. I've just been making them up in my head as I go and taking notes for reminders the next time I give it a try. And I have not made patterns. I don't think I will because they turn out different each time and I have to adjust and I can't get it right. I can't get it the same each time. And I don't think if I made a pattern anyone else would be able to get it right each time, get it the same each time. So this is Thulu. He is a sea monster. This is his face here, the tendrils for his face. And I have fins for the sides of his head and wings. Thulu has wings. And I chose kind of a bat wing shape with the thumb at the top. So those are the pieces I've got going on. And I need to start with the bottom of my piece. Okay, that's the cast on, that's the top. This is the bottom. You can tell that that is the cast on because the strand kind of tucks under one of the interstitial stitches before it continues into its into the round. And the cast off comes right through the center of the stitch. So I'm going to thread my needle onto the bind off end and pull that closed. And this is the bottom. I'm going to make the seam for the legs up the side here. So my yarn comes out right there in line with that space. And I want to tuck 5 stitches, 5 columns of stitches inside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to go into that space there and find the lowest interstitial stitch, which is that one. There's the bottom stitch there. And the next one, that makes that the first interstitial. And I'm taking the first one up on just above where the yarn comes out there. So that interstitial there. So that's 1 stitch, 2 stitch, and I take the next one above that one, 3, and the one above that one, 4, and the one above that one, 5, and I keep going. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And I draw my yarn through. So there I've done the seam for the leg. I'm going to do the other leg. But first I am going to pooch out the paw and shape the paw. I'll show you what the inside looks like. There, see? With the seam there. You can see it on either side. And this is the inside of the leg here. So I'm going to flatten out the inside of the leg so that the stitches of the paw are lined up. And I'm going to push that outward a bit evenly so that I'm not making the front or the back more pronounced than the other. And my yarn is coming out there, so I'm going to come out there again. I'm going to go in on the opposite side in the same place and come out there. And that will be enough to hold the shape of the paw. I'm going to go into the stitch I just made and go down diagonal inside the leg and come out in the center of the bottom. I'll show you on the inside how I am coming out the bottom there, and I've gone diagonal inside from the paw to the center hole. And I'm going to draw that nice and snug. And the paw shape will hold and the leg shape will hold. And then I do the other leg. I'm going to do 5 inside here, but it has to be in the right position. This leg here will have 3 in front, 3 columns of stitches in front and 3 in back. 1, 2, 3. So that's the center there. 1, 2, 3. That's the center. 1, 2, 3. This is where the other leg begins here. So I find the lowest interstitial stitch for that column. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns inside, just like the other leg. And I find that lower interstitial stitch there. And on the back here, if you look at the side and count 3, 1, 2, 3, that's that will be the center of the legs. 1, 2, 3. That's the other leg there, the other side. So I've got 2 stitches and I'm going to get 14 like I did with the other. I grab the next interstitial stitch above the first one and the next interstitial stitch above the second one. So now I have 4 on my needle. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, all in the same columns. And then I draw that through and shape this paw as I did the other one, collapsing the inside of the leg a bit so that the paw stitches lie flat some. That feels right. Pooch the paw out a bit. And here my strand is coming out here. So I'm going to come out there too, going in the same place on the other side. And that'll shape that paw. And I'm going to go down through there and come out in the center again, going down diagonal to the center hole at the bottom. So I'm going inside the inner layer of leg. So now I've got my 2 legs and my paws, the side seams of the legs shaped in the paws. Next, I'm going to stitch the center of the legs. So this leg here from the side, 1, 2, 3. That's the center there. And this side too, if I look at the side, 1, 2, 3, that's the center. So I'm going to go straight through and come out in the middle here, which I haven't. Here's the side seam. 1, 2, 3. And I'm coming out there. So there's the side seam, 1, 2, 3. And I'm gonna go up a bit from where I came out and go through again in the same column at the back. There, I did it. Go down 1. And then I am going to go one more through, and that'll do to hold the front and back in the center to the, I don't have words. So I'm going to come up on the inside, and I'm going to make a knot in the center here on the inside to hold the strand from coming loose. This is what the inside looks like. I'll just make my knot here. So that's what the inside looks like. That's the leg, the inside of the legs, and that's the top of the center seam. And I've left my strand on my needle. I'm going to use it to make the neck. Oh, I forgot about, I'm neglecting my comments. Hi, sis. Hey, Maria. Hi, Mom. So I like to start at the center of the neck. So I line it up with the legs. So that's the center there. And I find my 4th stitch down by pulling up the draw, the cast off strand. I pooch that up a bit. So I want to have hold of those just to indicate that that is the 1st stitch there. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So that's where I'm starting here. This is the 4th here, and that's the center. So that's my starting point there. I'm going this direction, so I'll pick up that leg, one leg from that stitch, and one leg from that stitch, which is the 4th, and that one. I might be off track again already. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I'm on track up to there. See how here I ended up in the 3rd stitch? 1, 2, 3. I need to go down 1, 4. Grabbing one leg from the 4th stitch all the way around. Oh no, I wonder if we've got bad internet connection. Hey sis. One, two, three, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes I count, sometimes I just get daring and just go grab them. And then regret it later. Oh no, my battery is going on my headphones. I hope I don't have to do without them next. It didn't even occur to me to charge them. Okay, so now I've got my neck shaping strand in place. I hope it just switches over to speaker instead of cutting out entirely. I guess we'll see when it happens. I'll just continue and hope for the best. So now it's time for stuffing. Need a sip of my tea. I've got lint floating in my tea. You don't need much stuffing for this project. When I'm doing the body, I just, oh, my battery is going. I just put my hand over, and that is more than enough for the body. And I like to, I don't know what you'd call doing this. It helps with shaping, and it helps to keep the stuffing from showing in between the strands. I don't know if you guys can hear my microphone saying battery low. It keeps telling me that. So I pull the knots out of the fluff and smooth out the. They're not knots. They're, I guess, bumps maybe. Oh, there goes my headset. Can you guys hear me? Can someone comment if they can hear me? I think my battery completely died. Audio. Audio. Testing, testing. It seems to be. The bumpies there are there. Okay. Close that. I'm just going to continue. Oh, okay, good. Good. Okay. My headset died, so I'll just proceed. What was I saying? Lumps. I pull the lumps out of the fluff and fold it, and just until the lumps are all smoothed out, and I have kind of sort of a flat. I go farther and longer than this, but I'm not gonna make you guys watch me do this for very long. It's just I do it longer than that. I do a better job than that, and then oh, I missed my arms. For the arms, I take a pinch the size of my thumb, just like my thumbprint size, and that's not lots. That is so little. And I work it between my palms so that it's easy to divide. You can see that it's equal. So I use half a thumbprint for each arm. And those are my arms. Whoops. One's very active. Oh, there it goes again. That's an arm shape. And that's an arm shape. And then I stick it in position. That way I'm not overstuffing the arms, and the arms are even. And then once the arms are in place, I stick this into the body. Like that section that's how much is going in the body. The rest will be in the head, and I'll finish stuffing the head later. So I just get that in position there. And to hold it there, get the top closing strand out of the way. And I have the neck shaping strand here. And I'll even that up. And I'll put a single knot in just loosely. And that will hold the body stuffing in place while I make sure everything is, oh, I need to shove it in a bit more. Yeah, there, that held it in place. And then I am going to lower the head stuffing in and close that a bit. So you can see how it's it'll be very difficult to write instructions for each of these fussy little steps. So I don't plan on making a pattern. And I keep the stuffing, the tummy stuffing. It only needs to be as thick as the legs. So I'm not going to make it bulgy. It'll become bulgy with my further needle shaping. I don't want too much stuffing in the body. Otherwise it'll show through the stitches. And I'm going to ease the neck strand tighter to shape the bottom of the head. And when I flip over to the opposite side, I'm going to make a single knot and then go through again and again. So I have 3 wraps. The 3 wraps will be just wide enough that each strand is now in position for me to make the arms. So I'm going to put that one strand onto my needle. And here where the leg, the center there, where the paw is, I'm going to follow this column of stitches here. And that's the interstitial column I'm going to use to shape the arms. And on this side, here's my column. And I'm going to come up. I'm going to move over a couple stitches there. So there's my paw and the side of my leg. And there's the column I'm following. And there's the interstitial I want to come out. So I'm going to pull that, and then I'm going to go down 1 stitch and come out on this side. And the same column, I got to go over 1, but below my next stitch. So I am back stitching. So I'm going above the stitch. And then I'm going to come on this side below the next stitch and go in above it and come out this side. Oh, did I move? Come out on this side below the next stitch and then go in above it and do the same on this side. And I'm going to tug it slightly so that it gives my arm, it bulges my arm for a bit of shape. And I've come up below the stitch I used to make the paw shape. So I'm going to go into that same stitch from above, and I'm going across to the other side, but I'm going to grab just below the knot I made at the top of the leg seam. I'm going in that, and I'm going to come out on this side just below the stitch I used to make the paw. And I'm going to park that there for now. And I'm going to make the other arm the same way I made the first arm. So here's the seam here. No, not the seam, the column, the interstitial column of stitches. I'm going in there. That's my position on this side. I got to find the one on this side. There's my leg seam and my paw, and there's the column of interstitial stitches. I'm coming up in there, just at the neck level, and I'm going over this stitch and going under, coming up underneath this next stitch on this side. And then I go over that stitch and come out on this side, under, below the stitch there. And then I go above the stitch on my way in, and on my way out on this side, I come out below that stitch. There's no way I think I can put this in writing. So if anybody is going to be making these, they're going to have to watch my demo videos. This is my second one. I did a lion. I showed my lion earlier. I'll show you again once I get this portion of my work done here. Okay, I think I have one more stitch to go. Yep, there it is. And then I'm going to come up where I made my paw stitch. I'm below my paw stitch. I'm going to enter it from above and pierce through the leg and go underneath the center seam stitch there and come out on this side below where the paw is made and tug lightly. And I missed a step. I meant to pull that to give that some shape, but it looks like it's going to do fine. And I'm still connected here. On the other side, I detached, so I've still got my needle connected here. I'm going to go into that stitch again here, the one that made the paw, and I'm going to come back over here. And I'm going to pull, tug. We'll see the shaping here as I get in position here. As I pull, a few things are happening. The leg is going from flat to leg-like, and the side is coming in, the hip is coming in, and the arm is getting more shape, and the tummy is getting pooched out. So that's why I didn't want too much stuffing in. The needle shaping will be doing all the work for us. And now I need to anchor this to hold it in place, and I'm going to just go through one more time, and I'm going to snip that once I get over there. So I'm done with that one. And then I'm going to repeat with this side. So what I did was I went into the strand that made the paw, and I went through to the other side, like that, and I pulled just gently. Sorry. And that gives the arm shape, it pooches out the tummy, and it makes the legs so that they're not flat. They're leg-like now, just from that one tugging of that one strand of stitch. And then I'm going to go back into that knot and come out again on the other side. And I'm done with that strand. And next I am going to shape the head. And I definitely don't have enough stuffing in the head at this point. But because I kind of matted the stuffing for the head, it is more like a fabric than a fluff, but not really. But it'll let me dig around in here to pooch the head shape, I guess. I don't have vocabulary for it, so I just keep doing this until there, it's starting to become round. And I can add a bit more stuffing. I add very little at a time because I don't want to overstuff it. because overstuffing will just distort my work. Ease the top up closed a bit, and I can afford a bit more stuffing. I guess I'm adding about, I guess, 2 thumbprints worth of stuffing at a time, and I like to pull the fluffs, not the fluffs. I don't know the words. If anybody knows the words, let me know. So I think maybe I have enough in there now. Maybe I can do it a little bit more. Yeah, I need more. If when I draw it out, when I draw this too soon, I need to use my needle to, there we go, loosen it up a bit so I can get back in there. What I want is to have just enough stuffing in there that it'll hold its shape. I don't want it to get rippled or bulgy. So it's kind of a close balance to get enough so that it's not too much. Okay, maybe that feels right. Yeah, I think that'll do. And in closing the top, some of the fluff is sticking out from where I shoved it in for stuffing. I like to drag my needle point to draw in the stuffing. And I don't know if you can see how it's kind of indented there. I'll deal with that soon. I want it kind of like this, smoother all the way around. But the first thing I want to do is close this tighter. And how I do that is I'm coming out here. My strand is coming out there. I'm going to skip the stitch it's beside and go under the following stitch, skip the next under the following, and do that all the way around. So this is 22 stitches. So I'll be doing this to 11, and I've done 3, 4, 5, 6, skip 1, 7, 8, 9, skip 1, 10, and there's the last one, 11, and I'm back where I started. And when I pull that, support my work here, when I pull that, the top closes more. You can see how that is tighter. And I'm going to go under the next one, over the next one, under the next one. And that draws the top shut entirely. And I'm done with that. I'm going to pull this so that it opens that last stitch. It pulls it aside a bit. And I'm going to go under, grab from underneath, stitch from below, get under that stitch there, And I'm going to wrap once around so that I can knot that, and it'll sink underneath that stitch there when I tighten it. And I'm going to disappear this last strand just through anywhere and snip, and it's gone. And now about the head shaping. I want it all smooth and round, so I'm going to manipulate my stuffing by digging in and prying. See, I can see some of my stuffing there. So maybe I overstuffed. These are challenging to make off screen, and trying to do it on screen, I try. It's a challenge to do this well on screen. I've yet to make something really well on screen, and because usually I'll take off my glasses and I'll hold it up here and work it this way so I can really see what I'm doing. But when I'm filming, I need it over here, and I can't take my glasses off and see that far. I need tea. So I poke and I pry and I poke and I pry until the shape is close enough to what I'd like. That'll do. So that's how I shape that. Get the paws right and the legs right. And then I move on to the embellishments. And these two here, I made triangles, hand knit triangles, and I'm going to put it on his head for fins. And I don't have my example here for the ones I've done previously for what angle or which position I put the fins, but I believe they were angled backward to the back of the head. And I have wings. I'll decide which side is the back. I like the look of this side, and I'm going to cover that up with tentacles. So that takes care of the stuffing showing there. So I'll make this the back. I like the other side better, so this can be the back, and I'll cover it with wings. I think I'll do that first. I'll do the wings first, and then the tentacles next. So to get those on right, my guideline will be the center again. Here's the center. And the neck. I wonder if I need to put that right up. Yeah, I'll put it right up in the neck. So there's the center and there's the neck, and I'm going to go over, I think, a stitch and a half. And this, the width between this strand that I have on my needle and the other strand for the other, the bottom of the wing, I guess, bottom edge of the wing, the space is, I don't know, maybe half a centimeter. So it'll attach there and I'll come out over here half a centimeter. I'm going to go under the stuffing, so I'm including my stuffing from going from there to there, and that'll hold it on better. So now my ends line up, one coming out of the body and one attached to the wing yet. And then I am going to make a knot. I make a lot of knots. I was told once that knitting shouldn't have knots and you should just neatly hide the ends, but I I make knots. I want my things to hold together, so I make knots. And I get my knot nicely into position there. And once it's where I want it, I tie another knot on top and firm it down tight there. And then I use the strand on the needle, move that one out of the way, and use my strand on the needle just to whip stitch. I'm going under a body stitch and under a wing stitch. And again, under body stitch and under a wing stitch. And I'll do that one more time. Should be enough. And that'll hold the wing on. I'm going to make another knot because I like knots. Under one body stitch, I'm going to wrap that and then come through the wrap. And that is my knot. Pull that tight and sink it into the body and come out anywhere because I'm going to snip it. Almost done. Got that end there to deal with. I don't think I need to attach any more on the wing, so I'm just going to go into the wing, through the wing, and into the body and through the body, and pull that and snip it. So I don't need the wing held on any tighter than it's already held on. So I've got one wing on. I'm going to stick the other wing on using the same technique. So that's the top of the wing here and the bottom of the wing there. And I'm going to take the top strand because I'm going to use the neck as a guideline like I did with the other. If I thread this strand on first, I'd have to figure out exactly where I want to pierce the body. But taking this strand, I can pierce right at the neck because that's where that one is going. I don't know if that made sense, but that's what I do. So here's the center for the legs, the center column. And I believe I put the other wing 1.5 columns away. So that's one, and that's half. And I'm piercing in right at the neck. And the distance between this strand and the other strand is about there. So I'm going to go under that distance of body. Oops, I lost my threading here. Rethread my needle. And then make my knot, join my knot, knot my strands together, position my wing and tighten my strand, tighten my knot, and then knot my strands together one more time. I swear this is easier off screen. I don't look this clumsy when I'm not trying to film. There, that's nice and tight. I think this time I am going to take the strand I have on my needle, and I'm going to sink that one first. I'm going to go through the wing and line up with this in the same spot on the body and go through and chop that off. That gets that out of the way. And then I'm going to thread the other one on and whip stitch the wing onto the body, going under one body strand, under one wing strand, and again under a body strand, under a wing strand. And I'll go a third time under the body strand. Whoops, that's stuffing, not strand. There we go. And under the wing. And that's that for that. Just a knot to go. So I'm going to go as close to the top edge as I can here, underneath that one. I'll go underneath that strand there. and wrap my needle and pull through the wrap so that it's a knot, and that'll hold. So I'm going to go through the body just anywhere because I'm snipping. And I now have wings. And I have fins and tentacles to put on. I think I'll put the tentacles on so I have something to, from this angle, I don't know which way is center, this way or that way. And maybe if I put the tentacles on, I can center that to the body. And once the tentacles are centered, I'll know where the fins go. So that's my idea. It looks like this here is the top of the tentacles here, and the tentacles hang downward. And I've got two strands. This looks like the top here, and that looks like the bottom. So I think what I'm going to do is use the top strand, thread my needle, another sip of my Linty tea, and it looks like to me that the tentacle is about that wide. So I'm going to find the center of the face, which is there, and the center this direction, which means there. And the tentacle is going on like that. And because the tentacle is that wide, I'm going to go in here and out there. And that should make the tentacle centered. I don't get this right all the time. I might be lopsided. But close enough is always close enough. And the other thing too is the tentacles are all squiggly and reachy, and they're never going to stay in position. So even if it is slightly lopsided, it won't be visible because the tentacles are all directions. So I'm going to go into the tentacles at the top here. The tentacles are drawn shut, so they're collected strands just like the top and the bottom were. So I'm going to skip here, the strand comes out of the tentacle there. I'm going to skip that strand and this strand, and I'm going to go in and around the final stitches of the tentacle there. I'll show you from above. And draw it shut there. So I've kind of got one gathering of stitches drawn shut here, just like this. And I'm going to go back into the head and come out just below there. That's where it came out before. I'm going to come out just a little bit below that. And I'm going to put a stitch to the side of the tentacles on this side. It's very thick. The tentacles are twisted and dense, so it's a bit hard to get in there. And I think to end, I'm going to come out in the middle and go back into where I came out on the face and come out in the center underneath. That's where I'm going to hide my knot. And I'm going to go over here to this one and make a few more security stitches on the face. And I went in there to hold the top, and I'm going a bit below, a bit lower there. And I think I'll come up in the center on top here, as close to the center as I can. And I'm going to go down into the center of the final stitches from the tentacle. Whichever way you want to hold a piece onto your piece, put it that way. If it makes sense just from looking at it, do it the way that makes sense. I'm making this up as I go along, and I'm going to make a knot here. And then another knot to hold that knot. And I think that will be enough for my tentacles. That should hold them. So I'm just going to come out down here somewhere. Snip that end. And I'm done with it. And thread that back onto my needle and sink it near the knot. Come out anywhere. Definitely not catch any of the tentacles when you're drawing this through. They're easy to catch on the strands. So there, his face is on. And in doing that, I densed, I guess, stuffing underneath. So I'm just gonna see if I can reduce some of the compaction in there and shape the face properly. Just by prying, poking and prying. That'll do. And then the fins. So these fins, they match. I've got the tips, and I can't remember the name of that angle, but it's not equilateral. And the side with the two ends, that's going against the head. I'm going to see if I can get them to match. I can have them both on top or way down on the side or farther back. I think I'm going to kind of go with top. Yeah. So I'm going to thread the front one on, the front strand on from one. And that's around about the center-ish. So I'm going to put it, I'll start it here. And I'm going to lie this against, just to measure, see that this strand here is entering the skull there. And this strand here lines up. Let me get that angled there. It lines up there, and I think I want it, yeah, I'll have it that angle. So the back strand of the fin lines up on the head there. So I'm going to come out there with my needle. And in the same way I attached the wings, I'm going to make a knot. There. And before I attach it, I am going to do the same to the other side. That way I have a better idea of their evenness. So that's the center, and It looks to me like the next one goes in here. So I'll give that a try there. And I think it comes out around about there, so I'll emerge there and double check by holding the fin against the head. That's the front strand and there's the back strand, and that looks close enough. So let's do that. And then I'm going to tie that single knot just because I am making sure I have my fins where I want them. They weren't perfectly matching shapes, so they're not going to completely match, but it looks to me like I got them even enough. So I'm going to do a second knot on both. Second knot on my left fin and a second knot on my right fin. And I'm going to thread one of these onto my needle. And sink. I'll go through the fin once and sink it into the body. Come out and snip it. And I'll do the same on the other side. Thread one of the strands onto my needle. Go through the fin once, through the head, and come out somewhere and snip. Pin that down with my thumb and forefinger and just support the body however. And then I'm going to whip stitch, grabbing one stitch from the head and one stitch from the ear, fin, whatever it is. And again, grab a stitch from the head, stitch from the appendage, stitch from the head, and a stitch from the fin. You don't have to grab both. You can grab one from the head and one from the fin separate, whatever way works. And I'm going to go through the head one more time and come up underneath the fin so I can hide my knot because I'm going to put a knot now. Go under one stitch, wrap my needle, draw through, a couple of yanks and, oh, came off. Sarah, can you find me red or yellow? I need to make his eyes. I didn't think to find those. Okay, so that kind of angles that way, and this is a bit down, so I'm going to shove it a bit with my thumb and then hold it and whip stitch like I did the other. That'll do. Thank you. I always tell myself that the little mistakes don't really matter. Nobody's going to really be looking that closely. So I don't stress out when something goes a little bit wrong. These are not even. These fins are really not even. And I'm going to make a knot by going underneath beside the stitch I'm just coming out of here. Oh, my strand is very short. Wrap the end, and I'm going to draw through once I've got it back on again. There. Oh, it's loose, but that's okay. It's still there. I successfully got the fins on without getting snagged up in the tentacles. I think the other Cthulhu I did had gray fins. I think something on it was gray besides the wings. I think the wings and the fins were both gray. I might be wrong. And I think I did brows. I did brows on the other one, didn't I? I wonder if any of these are long enough. I don't think any of them are long enough for brows. Maybe that one is. I'm going to put brows. He'll look more severe. And I'll start here. I'll start here and go just below. How do I do that? I'm going to put his eyes there. So his brow should come just below the fin, maybe. Yep, that's how I'm going to do it. His brow will go from there to there. And I will level these up so I have equal amount for the brows. That's for the other brow, and this is for this brow. And then I'm going to go into the center. He'll be unibrow, and I'll make it pointed a bit there. So it's going to go up in the center. Go more. I gotta go there. That should be a position. That should be good. I'm not making sense. And then I'm going to wrap. I came out here. I went in at the center here, and I came out at the center of the brow so that I can pin it in the center. And now I'm going to wrap the brow to give it some thickness. And I'm going in here, and I'm going to come out at the center of the brow again. So I can wrap the other side, the other end of the brow. Oh, look, I caught a tendril. Wrap. There we go, he's got one brow. And then I am going to come out at the back of the head. I'm going to tie these together at the back. I'll show you that technique. I'm going to come up in an interstitial there between a stitch and a gap, not coming through the yarn strands itself, but between. And I'm going to use the other brow. I'm coming up here, I'm going in here. He's going to be almost unibrow, so I'm just going to go right next to it. And this brow kind of arches there, here, and to match, I need to come up there in the center. Around about there. And this will go around that. There, so that holds the brow up a bit. And then I'm going to wrap again. Thicken it up, the tendrils out of the way so I don't snag them. Wrap. Wrap. This is coming together a whole lot quicker than the lion I did. There we go, that's partially done, and I'm going to go in there and come out at the center again. There we go, close enough. And then wrap the rest of the brow, going towards the nose. I was wrapping towards the fin, now I'm wrapping towards the nose, creating thickness for the brow. There. Close enough is close enough. So now I'm going in there, and I'm going to come out in the exact same place over here. There, coming out in the exact same place. And I'm going to tie my knot and sink the knot into the stuffing. And I'm going to tie another knot and firm it up, give it a nice pull. And snip those. And I'm going to shove them in with my needle, the eye of my needle. And I'm going to pull the stuffing up around to cover. There. And the only thing left to do is his eyes. Sarah brought me gold yarn, so Thulu will have gold eyes. Get a length of that. Get that on my needle. And his eyes should be about, I guess if they're not mid-brow, they'll probably look like they're too close together. Now to decide how big the eyes are going to be. I'm definitely going to have them directly under the brow. You can have them lower, but I think I want my eyes right up against the brow. Let's see how this goes. I'm going to do, I think I'll do slits. The brow is here. I'm going to go in a bit. And same on this side, the brow ends there. I'm going to come in just a bit. There. And get my ends here. Line them up and make sure I have enough equal for each eye. So that's the outer edge of the eye. I'm going to put the inner edge just inside where the brow ends here. And I don't know if one strand will be enough. I'll try it. I'm going to go out in an interstitial at the back and take a look after I've done it to see if one strand is enough. It might be. So there's the end of the brow there, and I went in there, so one, just to match it there, go in one there, one wrap distance from the brow end. So that might be good. Maybe I'll put two in. Yeah, I'll put two in because it might vanish under the brow. So I'm going to go back in the same interstitial because I don't want to make a stitch at the back. And I'm going to come in at the inner corner of the eye and sink that completely. Tug it a bit. And I'm going to do a stitch just below the stitch I made for the eye. And I went in here. I'm going to go inward a bit from there, so there. And I'll come out just below that one, just so I know which end is which. Not that it matters. Sink that. Oh yeah, that looks better. So I make these up as I go along, and whichever way they end up as I'm going, that's how they end up. So this is the other eye. I'll go in the same interstitial and come out. And the same place I went, that the inner corner of the eye, I'm coming out on the same place. If I can take my bifocals off and get serious here. Come on. There we go. I'm out. And then that nice. Good. And then the other corner of the eye there, I'm going to go inward a bit from there. So I'm not going in the same place there. And here I'm going to come out in the same place as that strand and give that a tug a bit. Oh, that, I don't know what happened there. Just manipulate it a bit with my needle. Shove and poke. There, now he looks monstrous. Perfect. Now I'm just going to tie these. I don't want to change the shape of the eye, so I'm just going to gently pull and sink the knot into the stuffing. And then I'm going to put another knot on top and snug it just a bit. And snip. And I'm done with the eye color. And then I shove that with my needle eye and grab the stuffing and put it over top. So the end vanishes completely. And I think that's it. That's Thulu. There's his fins and his tendrils and his wings and his glowy eyes. All the shaping. I meant to show these. I'll show you right now. They're, what do you call these? Christmas hooks? Ornament hooks? Sarah's got her earphones in. The space in between the stitches here, I can shove that in there and just ease it in under the fabric until it reaches the center. And he can go on a Christmas tree. Let me change my angle here. Solo. There. And I showed you the lion at the beginning of the video. I'll grab him again with his chain, keychain. So they can be Christmas ornaments or keychain. What's the other thing I had, babe? Oh, the vendor bubble. Yeah. I don't even know where those are. Let me grab the vendor bubble. They fit in. I'm pretty sure it's over here. Yep. Oh, I found a piggy. I'll show you my piggy. Hang on. Turning. Oh. I'll show you the vendor bubble. They're the ones with the hinge. I got these on Amazon, and if I fold him at his bum, he can sit in there, tuck his wings in, and fold his arms inward, and tuck his head in there. Oh, it's a bit of a scooch. This guy, he's a bit big, and he's got a lot of sticky out parts. But he fits. The vendor bubble closes. You can see his eyes glowing through. See. He emerges eyes first. Anyway, I found a piggy. I did this ages ago, before I started stuffing as I do. Oh, maybe not. I don't know when I did this. The ears are different. I pulled up stitches and wrapped, kind of like how I did the brows. But the thing I was going to point out was the top. I took two paper clips and held them together so they match their silhouettes, and I single crochet around one end, and I sunk the paper clip inside, and I stitched until it held. So that's how I was making my keychain before. But this is the only one I did that to. I didn't really like it. It's okay. Let me switch to my other. Trying to hold it up like that is awkward. There. It's okay. Like you could get a keychain in there. It's a bit snug. It's a bit, and the other thing too is the stitches, because they're against metal, they will wear away, especially if you've got them on a keychain. I prefer this guy here. I got these on Amazon as well. Sarah's got, what is it, an oud?
Wood, yeah.
From
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who on her backpack with one of these.
I absolutely liked it one day when somebody's like, "Is that an oud? Is it an oud?"
Awesome.
I was thrilled to pieces that somebody recognized it.
So those are the three ways I display my pocket buddies in the vendor bubble or on Christmas. What are these called? Ornament hooks. The ornament hook just goes in. I like these ones better than the snowflake. So that's what I've been up to. And I've been asked previously for pattern, but I don't know what that is in the comments. But anyway, I've been asked if I have a pattern or if I'm going to make a pattern. I don't think I will, because they don't turn out consistently identical for me, and I don't know how to word everything I just showed you in order to cause a person following the pattern to make identical items either. So I think for now I have this demonstration up in a previous video, and gravity took away my Thulu. So I'll have that demo and this demo and perhaps another. I've got a whole stack of different pocket buddies. I can demonstrate how to structure them, assemble them. So I might make another. This one went 20 minutes quicker than my previous one. I don't know if it's the item I chose. It must be because this has a lot of tiny, wincy little things. So I guess that's all I've got to say about that. If there's any questions, add them to the, oh, hey. Hi, thanks for joining me. I'm just signing off. I'm just signing off. Yeah, hang on. I'm going to see if I can get the... I need your help, Sarah. Oh, I see it. It's right there. Can you grab it?
Yeah.
I lost my project I was working on today. It's gravity took it away from me. That's not for you, kitty. Miss Solo, hang on. That's what I just finished making. I just finished assembling this Thulu. And so the previous, oh, shoved everything trying to get to my Thulu on the floor. So that's from my previous demo. This is from this demo. And I will do another demo, maybe with another one in, I don't know, 2 weeks, a month. Just so that I have a few of these up. Thank you. I want a few demos up because there's no way I'm going to ever make a pattern for these. I might put notes for how I do the panels and the snouts and the tendrils and the fins and the wings. I might put notes up for that, but I will never make patterns. I'm certain of that. The more of these I do, the more notes I take in doing them, the more certain I become that I'm never going to do patterns. So those are my demos. Demo number 2, Thulu. Demo number 1, lion. So I'll sign off now. Thank you for watching and having patience with my stuttering, muttering, stammering. But that's how it goes for now. I'm just learning these. I have a page. You might be watching me on the page now. I have a what do you call it? YouTube channel. You can find me. It's Elizabeth Pierre. Let's see if I have a banner for it. There. I keep forgetting to use these. Oh, I needed to scroll up. Hang on. There's my YouTube. I've got a YouTube channel for my knitting. You can find my patterns there, as well as tips and tricks and project progress. And then here is my Facebook. On Facebook, I am I have a page called Cast on Calamity. And yeah, basically the same as no, actually it's photos, mostly photos and videos on Facebook. And it's mostly finished objects, not much progress things, but it's kind of, yeah, go look. Facebook page Cast on Calamity, and YouTube Elizabeth Pierre. So that's everything I wanted to tell you.